Hello and welcome to the first tutorial for the class. This is going to be a short video tutorial on how to open up your photos in Photoshop and how to crop them down to the sizes that I've given you for your homework assignment. So this is assuming that you have already gone out and taken your 8 pictures, 4 of point and 4 of line. You can take those pictures with any kind of camera, including a cell phone camera. Really try to look in your environment. That's what this practice is about. Try to see points and lines in places that are not so obvious. Maybe create situations, put something like a jar in a location where it's not normally placed or something like that. So you can also play with creating these little setups. So once you have your 8 pictures and you've taken them and transferred them by whatever means to your computer, whether it's by emailing yourself or you've taken your SD card and put it into your computer, you're going to open up Photoshop. So that's the stage I'm on right now. I've opened up Photoshop and I've actually already opened up one picture. But now I'm going to talk you through how to open up your pictures. So once Photoshop is open, you go to File, Open, and browse for your wherever you have your pictures. And in my case, I have them on my SD card. So I want to open up all of them, although one is open already. I'm going to click on the first one, hold the Shift key down to click on the last one so they're all selected, and hit Open. And the reason I did this, I opened them all up at once, is I wanted you to see how Photoshop opens up multiple documents. What you'll see is up here at the top, this is our document area. Up at the top, they're all opening up as tabs. And on each tab, it gives me the name of the image I'm looking at, the percent in which I'm viewing it. That's very important. We'll talk about that in a minute. And if it's color, which is RGB, it's color. If it was in black and white, it would say grayscale. And to get to my other pictures, I just click through the different tabs, and you can see I have my 8 examples here. So what I've asked you to do for this practice is to crop each image down to be 200 by 200 pixels with a resolution of 72. Resolution, by the way, refers to the amount of digital information in an image. And the reason I said resolution of 72 is because these practices are going to be put on Discussion Board, which is a web environment for you to view. And so that they're not too large, we're going to set them to web resolution, which is 72. So now that we have something going on in our document area, I can briefly talk you through the interface of Photoshop. Up here at the top, we have the main menu. So when I tell you to go to Image under the main menu, I'm talking about here, Image. And under Image Adjustments, for example, this is a place you'll go a lot. This is where you can adjust the colors and the tones in your image. And a lot of the basic sort of commands are up here that you'll find in other programs, such as under Edit, you'll find the copy and paste. Under File, Save, Open, Open Recent. So that's the main menu. Over here we have the toolbar, and by the way, any one of these tools you can click and drag around, sort of grab it at the top, you'll see those dotted lines. So this is my toolbar, and this is broken into a couple of different sections here, as you can see the little gray lines here. And we're going to be talking about the crop tool, which is our fifth tool, down from the top. We're going to talk about the crop tool. In the middle section here, these tools are all for retouching. And down here we have text tools and shape tools. And down at the bottom we have navigation tools. And at the way bottom we have our color pickers. Over on this side we have some panels. And there's so many panels in Photoshop. By default we have our layers panel open. And some adjustments and color panels. Or you may have different panels. If I want to access other panels, I go up to Window. All of these things, any panel that you need to work on or know about, I will go over in more detail. Right now, I'm just kind of taking you through the interface very quickly, just so sit back and kind of absorb the information. You don't really have to follow along yet. But now's the point when you should start following along. I want you to take the crop tool, and I'm not quite sure what I just did. I'm going to undo what I just did. What just happened with my whole thing? Sorry, so just ignore that step. I'm not quite sure what just happened there. I took my crop tool, and up here we have what's called the options bar. So under my main menu is the options bar. The options bar is contextual. meaning it changes based upon the tool that I have selected in my toolbar. Just watch for a second. I'll take one of my healing tools. And so I've clicked on that, and now you'll notice that my option bar changed. I'll take my clone tool. The option bar changed. So all of these tools have default settings that can be changed up here in the options bar. Also notice with your tools, if you see a little arrow at the bottom, that means that there are more tools embedded within. Here's the perspective crop tool, slice tool. So let's just go back to the regular old crop tool. And you probably have your setting up here to set to ratio. So if you click on where it says ratio or whatever it says, maybe it says original ratio, you should have access to these other presets. We're going to choose the width and height and resolution preset, or field really. And in each field, mine is already there because I just did this practice, you're going to type in 200 px for pixels. And then go to the next field and type in 200 px. And the next field is for resolution, and that's where you'll put 72. So now we have a possibility of 200 pixels by 200 pixels by 72. And I already have kind of part of my image is grayed out, and I have what's are called anchor points around sort of a selection. I can click on my selection and click it and drag it around. And what I'm doing at this point is try to find kind of an interesting crop, an interesting selection from my entire image to make into this 200 by 200 pixels. So I'm just grabbing my corners and kind of shifting it down. And once I've found something that I think is a little bit interesting, I'm going to go back up here into my options bar, and I'm going to make sure where it says delete cropped pixels is not selected. So that gives me the option of always getting back the edge of my image that I crop off. So cropping is like cutting off. It's like I'm going to cut off with scissors everything outside, everything that's in gray, and this is what's going to be left. Once I'm kind of happy with that, I'm going to go up to the options bar and hit the check mark. And whoa, my image suddenly looks very small. Well, that's because if we look at this image, and this is the tab for it, I'm only viewing it, move things over, at 16%, not at 100%. So Photoshop has this ability to allow you to view things smaller or larger than they are. So all the way at the bottom of my toolbar is the zoom tool. I'm going to take that zoom tool and click on it and click until I notice up here in my tab that it says 100%. And now that's the actual size of my image at 200 by 200 pixels. And if I want to double check that, I can go up to image, image size, so that was image from the main menu, image size, and switch this to pixels, and I see that I have an image that is 200 pixels by 200 pixels with a resolution of 72. So what if I made this crop and then I don't really like it? So the other tool I want to talk about, or the panel actually, excuse me, is the history panel. I already have a little icon here for the history panel. You may or may not see that. If you don't see it, go up to Window from the main menu and choose History. And it opens up this little panel. And when you're done with it, you click on the arrows and it docks it. Creates a little icon here, and that's what's called docking. And to get it back, I click on it. So the history panel will record the last 25 steps that I made. If I want to undo my crop and start it over, I'm going to click back into the first stage here, the first step that the history panel recorded, which is when my image was originally opened. I'll click on that and I get my image back. And now you can see why Photoshop reduced our image to show us only 16%, at least in my case, because at 100% the image is so large. So I can't see the whole thing. So how do I zoom out? Well, I'm going to stay on the zoom tool and go up to my options bar again and click on the minus or the zoom out option. See right up here, I have a regular, this tool can be a zoom in or it can be a zoom out. And I'm going to click and click and click. And incidentally, in the option bar, I also have options such as just fit screen, 100%, fill screen, and that can be a faster way. So now I have it reduced down to 12% and I can see the whole edges. And I can start with that crop again. Click on that crop tool, make sure it still says 200 pixels by 200 pixels at 72. and I can either click and drag out a selection. I'm not sure what is, I think because I'm recording the screen at the same time, my program is, that's why if you're seeing a flickering black, that should not be happening on your screen. I think it's just something that's happening because I'm recording. And again, I can click and drag these corners around, and I'm actually moving my image, and so I'm situating it to get whatever it is that I actually want to be my final crop. And once I'm happy with it, I click the check mark. And then I can zoom back in. So, need to switch this back to the zoom tool, zoom in, or just say fit screen. Okay, let's save this. I'm going to go to File, Save As, and I can call it Line 1, and I'm going to save it as a JPEG. So from my Save As type, from the drop-down, I choose JPEG and hit Save. It's going to ask me about the quality settings, and you can leave it at high and click OK. So now that one is saved, and I'll go to my next one. Actually, let's take something. Let's take a point. So I have a different example here. I'll go to any one of these. Take a point. Same thing. I'm going to take my crop tool. Make sure that it's at 200 pixels by 200 pixels with a resolution of 72. It gives me this kind of preliminary crop, which would be 200 pixels by 200 pixels. If I'm fine with that, I could just stick with that. Or I could, in my case, I want to actually get rid of some of the lower section and tighten this crop. So I'm going to bring it in a bit and let Photoshop do the rest of the resizing. So that's pretty good. Making sure that delete cropped pixels is not on, and hit the check mark. And it's super tiny. Take my zoom tool and zoom back in. Okay, so go and finish that up with the rest of your images.